Muhammad Ali walks across a crowded ballroom at a Los Angeles charity dinner when he stops at Rocky Balboa's table and asks one simple question. "Rocky, could you beat me?" The entire room goes silent. Cameras stop flashing. Conversations stop mid-sentence. And what Rocky says in the next 12 minutes doesn't start a fight. It starts a conversation that changes how the greatest boxer alive thinks about what makes a fighter truly dangerous. Los Angeles, California. February 1977. Saturday evening, 8:43 p.m. The Beverly Hilton Hotel. Grand ballroom. Crystal chandeliers hanging from 30-foot ceilings. Round tables draped in white linen filling every available space. Maybe 800 people. Hollywood elite. Sports legends, business moguls, politicians, everyone who's anyone, everyone who can afford a $5,000 plate. All here for the Children's Hospital Charity Gala. All dressed in tuxedos and gowns, all pretending to care about sick kids while really caring about being seen, caring about sick kids. Rocky Balboa sits at table 47 near the back, not quite in the main room. In that awkward space where people who are famous enough to be invited, but not famous enough to matter, get seated. Rocky's wearing a rented tuxedo. Black, simple. Bow tie slightly crooked because Rocky tied it himself and didn't quite get it right. White shirt, black shoes he borrowed from Paulie. He looks uncomfortable, out of place, like someone dressed him up and put him on display at the wrong party. Adrian sits next to him, wearing the nicest dress she's ever owned. Dark blue, elegant, simple. Pearl necklace Rocky bought her with some of the Creed fight money. Her blonde hair is up, makeup done professionally. She looks beautiful, nervous, holding Rocky's hand under the table, squeezing it, reminding him she's there. They're in this together. Whatever this is, they're here because Rocky's famous now. After going 15 rounds with Apollo Creed, after winning the rematch 2 months ago, after becoming heavyweight champion of the world, Rocky Balboa, the Italian stallion, the underdog who became champion, America's new obsession. Everyone wants a piece of him, wants him at their events, wants photos with him, wants to be associated with him. So Rocky gets invited to things like this, charity dinners where the food costs more than most people make in a month, where the wine bottles have years on them older than Rocky, where everyone speaks a language Rocky doesn't quite understand. Money language, elite language, the language of people who've never struggled. Rocky's been here for 2 hours, sitting through speeches, sitting through a 5-course meal he barely touched because he didn't recognize half the food, sitting through small talk with people who ask what he does as if they don't know, as if the heavyweight champion of the world is invisible to them, as if Rocky's fame doesn't quite count in their world. At the table with Rocky and Adrian are a movie producer Rocky's never heard of, the producer's wife who keeps looking at Rocky like he's an animal in a zoo, a real estate developer who tried to sell Rocky a house in Beverly Hills for $2 million, and a lawyer who keeps handing Rocky his business card saying, "When you need representation, call me." Rocky's been polite, answered their questions, smiled at their jokes, even when they weren't funny. But he's exhausted, ready to leave, ready to go back to Philadelphia where he understands the rules, where people talk straight, where being rich doesn't make you better. Then something happens. A ripple goes through the crowd. Conversations stop, heads turn, people stand up slightly trying to see. Someone important just walked in, someone who commands attention without asking for it. Rocky turns to look. Muhammad Ali. Walking through the ballroom like he owns it, which in a way he does. Owns every room he walks into, owns every space he occupies. 6 feet 3 inches, 220 pounds. Moving with that alley grace, that impossible combination of size and fluidity. Wearing a white tuxedo jacket, custom tailored, probably cost $5,000. Gold watch on his wrist catching the chandelier light. Diamond cufflinks. White bow tie perfectly tied. He looks like a king, looks like royalty, looks like exactly what he is, the greatest boxer who ever lived. Ali's surrounded by people, always surrounded, Handlers, managers, celebrities, hangers-on, everyone wanting a piece of him, everyone trying to get close to greatness. Ali's smiling, shaking hands, kissing women's hands, working the room, but his eyes are scanning, looking for something, someone. Then Ali's eyes lock on Rocky. From across the room, 50 feet away, their eyes meet. Ali's smile gets bigger. He says something to the people around him, points at Rocky's table, starts walking. Not toward the front of the room where the important tables are, toward table 47, toward Rocky Balboa. The crowd parts. Everyone watching, whispers spreading like wildfire. Ali's going to Rocky's table. What's happening? Someone get a camera. Rocky stands up. Instinct. Respect. You stand when Muhammad Ali approaches. Adrian stands too. Nervous, the rest of the table scrambling to their feet, the producer's wife practically hyperventilating. Ali reaches the table, stops right in front of Rocky, 6 inches taller, 40 pounds heavier. Looks down at Rocky with those famous eyes, that Ali charisma radiating off him like heat. He extends his hand. Rocky takes it. Ali's grip is firm, testing, measuring, the handshake of 2 fighters, not 2 strangers, 2 men who speak the same language even if they've never spoken before. Ali says, "Rocky Balboa, the new champion." His voice fills the space, loud, confident. Everyone within 20 feet stops to listen. "I've been wanting to meet you," Rocky says. "Mr. Ali, it's an honor." "Mr. Ali." Ali laughs, that famous laugh. "Call me Muhammad. We're both champions. We're equals." Rocky nods. "Muhammad." Ali looks at Adrian. His whole demeanor changes, softens, becomes almost gentle. He says, "And this must be the woman everyone talks about, the one who believed in Rocky when nobody else did." He takes Adrian's hand, kisses it. Old school, respectful. "You're beautiful, and you've got good taste in fighters." Adrian blushes, says quietly, "Thank you." Ali looks back at Rocky, says, "Can I sit?" Rocky gestures to an empty chair. "Please." Ali sits. The entire dynamic of table 47 changes. 5 seconds ago, this was the unimportant table in the back. Now it's the center of the universe. Every eye in the ballroom is watching. Cameras are appearing from nowhere. Photographers pushing closer. Security trying to keep them back. This is the moment. This is the photo everyone wants. Muhammad Ali and Rocky Balboa. 2 champions, 2 legends. Together. Ali leans back in his chair, completely comfortable, completely in control. Says, "So, Rocky, you beat Apollo Creed? That's impressive, real impressive. Apollo's a hell of a fighter, fast, strong, technical, one of the best I've ever seen. And you beat him, made him quit in the 15th round. That takes something special." Rocky says, "Apollo's a great fighter, greatest I ever faced. I just got lucky." Ali shakes his head. "Nah, luck doesn't last 15 rounds. Luck doesn't survive what you survived. That was heart. That was will. That was something you can't teach." Ali pauses. His eyes sharpen. Gets that look, that Ali look, when he's about to say something that matters. "Rocky, can I ask you something?" "Sure." "Could you beat me?" The question hangs in the air. The table goes silent. The surrounding tables go silent. The entire section of the ballroom goes silent. Everyone waiting, everyone wanting to hear Rocky's answer. This is the question everyone's been asking since Rocky became champion. Could Rocky Balboa beat Muhammad Ali? The new champion versus the legend. The underdog versus the greatest. The brawler versus the master. Who would win? Rocky doesn't answer immediately. He looks at Ali, really looks at him, studies him, takes in the size, the confidence, the intelligence behind those eyes. Ali's not just asking a casual question. He's genuinely curious, genuinely wants to know what Rocky thinks. This isn't trash talk. This isn't ego. This is 2 fighters having a real conversation about the thing that matters most to both of them. Fighting. Who's better? Who would win? Why? Rocky says, "That depends." Ali's eyebrows raise. Depends on what? Depends on the rules, depends on when we fight, depends on a lot of things. Ali leans forward, interested. Explain. Rocky takes a breath. This is important. This isn't something you answer with sound bites. This requires thought, honesty, truth. Rocky says, if we fought when you were in your prime, when you were 25, 26, when you were the fastest heavyweight anyone had ever seen, when you were floating like a butterfly and stinging like a bee, when you were the Ali who beat Liston and Foreman and Frazier, then no. I couldn't beat you. Nobody could beat that version of you. That Ali was perfect, was everything a heavyweight should be. Speed, power, intelligence, heart. You were untouchable. The table is silent, everyone listening. Ali's face is neutral, processing, waiting for the rest. Rocky continues. But if we fought today, right now, both of us as we are, then it's different. You're what, 35? You're still great. Still maybe the best heavyweight alive. But you're not the same. You're slower. You take more punches. You absorb more damage. Your reflexes aren't what they were. That's not an insult. That's just time. Time beats everyone, even Muhammad Ali. Ali nods slowly, not offended, acknowledging the truth. Rocky says, and me, I'm 31. I'm in my prime. I'm as strong as I'm ever going to be, as tough as I'm ever going to be. So if we fought today, right now, I think it would be a war. I think you'd win rounds with speed and skill. I think I'd win rounds by getting inside and punishing your body. I think it would go the distance. All 15 rounds. And at the end, I honestly don't know who would win. Could go either way. Depends on the judges. Depends on who wants it more that night. Depends on 1,000 little things that nobody can predict. Ali's quiet, thinking, processing. Nobody's ever talked to him like this before. With this level of honesty, this level of respect mixed with confidence. Most people either kiss his ass and tell him he's unbeatable, or they trash talk and tell him he's washed up. Rocky's doing neither. Rocky's being real. Rocky says, but here's the thing, Muhammad, the real thing. Fighting isn't just about who's faster or stronger or more skilled. It's about styles, about matchups, about what you're willing to sacrifice to win. And our styles, they're opposite. You're a boxer, technical. You control distance. You use the ring. You make your opponent fight your fight. And me, I'm a brawler. I get inside. I take punches to give punches. I turn boxing into a street fight. I make you uncomfortable, make you work, make you question whether winning is worth the damage. Ali says, you're saying you'd make me pay. I'm saying I'd try to make you pay. Whether I could actually do it, that's different. You're Muhammad Ali. You've been in wars before. You beat George Foreman in Zaire. You went 14 rounds with Joe Frazier in Manila. You know how to survive. Know how to win when winning seems impossible. So yeah, I'd try to make you pay, but you'd probably make me pay more. Because that's what you do. You survive. You adjust. You find a way to win. The table is completely silent. Adrian's squeezing Rocky's hand so hard her knuckles are white. The producer's wife looks like she might faint. This is the most honest conversation about boxing anyone's heard in years. Ali says, what if we change the rules? Rocky looks confused. What do you mean? What if we fought without gloves? Street fight rules. No rounds, no referee. Just 2 men until one can't continue. Who wins then? Rocky thinks about this long and hard, then says, then I think I win. Ali's eyes widen, not angry, surprised, impressed. Why? Because street fighting favors the guy who's willing to take more damage, favors the guy who's been in street fights before. And Muhammad, no disrespect, but you were never a street fighter. You were a boxer from day one, trained properly, learned the right way. But me, I grew up fighting in alleys, fighting guys who didn't care about rules, who hit after the bell, who hit below the belt, who hit when you're down. I learned to survive that, learned to fight through that. So in a street fight with no rules, I think my experience in that world gives me the edge. Ali nods. Fair point. Rocky says, but that's the thing. We're not street fighters. We're boxers. And in boxing, with rules, with rounds, with gloves, you're better than me, Probably always will be. Because you mastered the sweet science. I'm still learning it. Allie leans back, looks at Rocky with something new in his eyes. Respect. Real respect. He says, "Rocky, you know what I like about you?" "What?" "You don't bullshit. Most fighters, they either kiss my ass or they trash talk. Try to sell a fight. Try to make themselves look good by making me look bad. But you're not doing that. You're being honest, giving me real analysis, real thought. That's rare. That's valuable." Rocky says, "I got no reason to bullshit you, Muhammad. You're the greatest heavyweight who ever lived. Everyone knows that. Me beating Apollo Creed, don't change that. Don't even come close. You're in a different category. You're history. I'm just the current champion. There's a difference." Allie says, "But you are the current champion. That means something. Means you're the best right now. Means everyone's coming for you. Means you got a target on your back. How does that feel?" Rocky thinks about this, says, "Scary." Honest answer, it's scary. Because I know I ain't the most talented, ain't the fastest, ain't the smartest. I'm just the guy who don't quit, who refuses to stay down. But there's 100 guys out there who are more talented than me, who should beat me, and one of them probably will eventually. So being champion don't make me feel secure, makes me feel like I'm holding something that don't really belong to me, like I'm borrowing it until someone more deserving takes it back. Ali's face gets serious. He leans forward, says, "Rocky, listen to me. That feeling you just described, that insecurity, that fear that you don't deserve it, that's the feeling that makes champions great. The guys who think they're unbeatable, they get complacent. They stop training hard, they stop respecting opponents. And they lose. But the guys who are scared, who know they're one bad night away from losing everything, those guys stay hungry. Those guys keep working. Those guys keep proving themselves. So don't lose that fear. Don't lose that insecurity. That's what's going to keep you champion." Rocky nods, taking it in. Advice from the greatest. Advice that matters. Allie says, "You asked me earlier about rules, about when we fight. Let me ask you something different. If we fought, what would be your strategy? How would you try to beat me?" Rocky says, "I'd try to take away your legs?" Allie looks surprised. "My legs?" "Yeah, your whole style is built on movement, on footwork, on controlling distance. You circle, you pivot, you make your opponent chase you, and when they get tired from chasing, you attack. But that only works if your legs hold up, so I'd go to your body. Early and often, punish your ribs, make it painful to breathe, make your legs heavy, and when you can't move like you want to move, when you can't circle away, that's when I get inside. That's when I start landing the shots that matter." Allie nods slowly. "You've thought about this." "I think about fighting everyone. That's what fighters do. We see someone, and we automatically start game planning. How would I beat them? What are their weaknesses? What are their patterns? It's automatic. Can't turn it off." Allie smiles. "Same. I've been thinking about fighting you since you beat Apollo." Rocky's eyes widen. "Really?" "Really. Want to know what I came up with?" "Yeah." Allie says, "I'd never let you inside. I'd use my jab. My reach advantage is 8 inches. That's huge. I'd keep you at the end of my jab. Frustrate you. Make you chase. And when you overcommit trying to get inside, I'd counter. Right hand over your jab, left hook when you lean, make you pay for every step forward, and by round 10, when you're exhausted from chasing, when your body's tired from eating jabs all night, that's when I'd take over. That's when I'd break you." Rocky nods. "That's a good strategy." Would it work, Rocky thinks? Maybe. Probably. But it assumes I'd keep falling for the same trap. Keep chasing you the same way round after round. And I don't think I would. I'd adjust. Find a different angle. Cut off the ring. Make you back up instead of circle. Force you into corners. Make you fight on my terms, even if it takes 12 rounds to make it happen. Because that's what I do. I make you fight my fight eventually. Allie laughs. "You're confident." "I'm realistic. I know what I'm good at. I'm good at taking punishment and staying dangerous. At making you work harder than you want to work. At turning skill fights into will fights. And in will fights, I win, because I'm willing to suffer more than anyone." Ali's laugh fades. He looks at Rocky seriously. Says, "You know what the difference between us is, Rocky?" "What?" "I fought to be the greatest. You fight to prove you're not nothing. I fought for legacy. You fight for dignity. I fought to be remembered. You fight to be seen. And neither one is better or worse. They're just different. Different motivations, different drives. But both are valid. Both are powerful." Rocky's quiet. Processing. Ali just articulated something. Rocky's felt his whole life, but never put into words. Ali continues. "If we fought, really fought, I think I'd win on points. I think my skill would edge your will. But I'd respect you more than almost any opponent I ever faced, because you wouldn't quit, wouldn't make it easy, wouldn't give me anything. You'd make me earn every second, every round, every point, and that's the highest compliment I can give a fighter." Rocky says, "And I'd respect you the same way, because beating you, even if I somehow did it, wouldn't make me greater than you. You're Muhammad Ali. You're history. You're the standard every heavyweight gets measured against. Me beating you wouldn't change that. Would just mean I won one night. You won a lifetime." The two men look at each other, understanding passing between them. This isn't about ego. This isn't about who's better. This is about two fighters recognizing each other, respecting each other, acknowledging that greatness comes in different forms. Adrian leans close to Rocky, whispers, "You're doing great." Ali hears it, smiles at her, says, "He's doing more than great. He's being real. That's rare in this world. Everyone's playing a character. Everyone's protecting their image. But Rocky's just being Rocky. That's why people love him. That's why I wanted to meet him." A photographer approaches. "Mr. Ali, Mr. Balboa, can we get a photo?" Ali looks at Rocky. "You okay with that?" Rocky nods. "Yeah." They stand. The photographer positions them. Ali puts his arm around Rocky's shoulders, both smiling, but not fake smiles. Real smiles. The smiles of two men who just had a real conversation, who connected on a level that matters. The flash pops. The photo captures it. The image that will run in newspapers tomorrow. Muhammad Ali and Rocky Balboa. Together. Mutual respect, visible on both faces. After the photo, Ali says, "Rocky, one more question." "Sure." "If we did fight, would you want to?" Rocky pauses. Really thinks about this. Then says, "Honestly? No." Ali looks surprised. "No? Why not?" "Because fighting you don't benefit me. If I win, people say you were too old. Say it don't count. Say I beat a legend past his prime. And if I lose, people say I was exposed. Say I was never that good. Say the Apollo Creed wins were flukes. Either way, I lose. Either way, the fight hurts my legacy more than helps it." Ali nods. "Smart thinking. But more than that, Muhammad, I respect you too much. You're a hero. To me. To everyone. You stood up to the government, refused to go to Vietnam, sacrificed your prime years for what you believed in, came back and won the title again. You're more than a boxer. You're a symbol. You're proof that standing up for what's right matters. And I don't want to be the guy who fights you. I want to be the guy who learned from you, who respected you, who knew when to step back and just appreciate greatness instead of trying to compete with it." The table is silent. Ali's eyes are wet, just slightly, but emotional, because nobody talks to him like this, with this level of honesty, this level of respect. He stands. Rocky stands. Ali extends his hand. Rocky takes it, but instead of shaking, Ali pulls Rocky in, hugs him. A real hug, the hug of mutual respect. Ali says quietly, so only Rocky can hear, "You're a good man, Rocky Balboa, a real fighter, not just in the ring, in life. Keep being that. Keep being honest. Keep being real. The world needs more fighters like you." Rocky says, "Thank you, Muhammad. That means everything." Ali steps back, looks at the table, says loud enough for everyone to hear, "Rocky Balboa is the real deal, the real champion. Not because he beat Apollo Creed, because he knows who he is, knows what he's fighting for, knows what matters. That's what makes a champion. That's what lasts." Ali waves to the table, walks away, back into the crowd, back to being Muhammad Ali, the greatest, the legend, the icon. But for 12 minutes, he was just Muhammad, talking to Rocky, fighter to fighter, man to man, two people who understand what it means to step into a ring and risk everything. Rocky sits down, exhales, didn't realize he was holding his breath. Adrian takes his hand, says, "That was incredible." Rocky says, "Yeah, it was." The producer across the table says, "Do you realize what just happened? Muhammad Ali just gave you his blessing, just told the whole room you're legitimate. That's worth millions. That's endorsement. That's legacy." Rocky says, "I don't care about that." "What do you mean?" "I mean, I don't care about endorsement or legacy or what it's worth. I care that Muhammad Ali, the greatest fighter who ever lived, sat at my table and had a real conversation with me. That he asked me questions and listened to my answers. That he treated me like an equal, even though we both know I'm not. That's what matters. That's what I'll remember. Not the photo, not the publicity, the conversation, the respect, the honesty." The next day, the photo runs on the front page of the sports section in every major newspaper. Muhammad Ali and Rocky Balboa, two champions, together. The headline reads, "Ali and Rocky, mutual respect between legends." But the story underneath gets it wrong, speculates about a potential fight, about how much money it would generate, about odds and betting lines and who would win. Completely misses the point, completely misses that these two men had a conversation about something deeper than fighting, about legacy, about purpose, about what it means to be a champion beyond the ring. Rocky reads the articles, shakes his head, tells Adrian, "They don't get it." Adrian says, "They never do, but you get it. Muhammad gets it. That's what matters." Years later, when Ali's health declines, when Parkinson's starts taking his speech and his movement, when the greatest fighter who ever lived can barely walk, Rocky visits him, goes to his home in Michigan, sits with him. They don't talk much. Ali can't talk much anymore, but they don't need to. The conversation they had that night in Los Angeles said everything that needed saying. Rocky holds Ali's shaking hand, says, "You asked me once if I could beat you. I gave you a complicated answer, but here's the simple one. No. I could never beat you, not in the ring, not in life, not in legacy. You're Muhammad Ali. You're the greatest. And nothing I do, nothing I accomplish will ever change that. But knowing you respected me, knowing you thought I was real, that means more to me than any championship belt. Thank you for that. Thank you for seeing me." Ali's eyes are clear, understanding visible. He squeezes Rocky's hand. Can't speak, but doesn't need to. The squeeze says everything, says I see you too, says you were real, says the respect was mutual. When Ali dies in 2016, Rocky is invited to the funeral, sits with other boxers, other champions, other legends. And when people ask Rocky about Ali, about their relationship, Rocky tells them about the charity dinner, about the 12 minutes they spent talking, about the question, "Could you beat me?" and the honest answer Rocky gave. Rocky says, "Muhammad Ali didn't need me to kiss his ass, didn't need me to trash talk. He needed me to be honest, to give him a real answer, to treat him like a fighter instead of an icon. And when I did that, when I respected him enough to be honest, he respected me back. That's the lesson. That's what Muhammad taught me. That real respect comes from honesty. From being willing to say hard truths, from treating people like people instead of legends." Someone asks, "Who would have won if you fought?" Rocky smiles. He would have, on points, after 15 hard rounds. But we both would have lost something too, would have lost the respect we had for each other, would have lost the purity of the question, because asking, "Could you beat me?" is more interesting than actually finding out. The question creates conversation, creates thought, creates respect. The answer just creates winners and losers. And Muhammad and me, we were both winners, because we chose conversation over confrontation, chose respect over ego, chose honesty over hype. That's the real answer to, could Rocky beat Ali? not who would win in the ring, but what they gained by never having to find out, by choosing to respect each other's greatness instead of trying to diminish it, by understanding that some questions matter more than their answers. Muhammad Ali asked Rocky Balboa if he could beat him, and Rocky's 12-minute answer wasn't about fighting, was about respect, about honesty, about understanding that greatness comes in different forms, that comparing champions is less valuable than celebrating them. That the question, "Could you beat me?" is really asking, "Do you respect me?" And Rocky's answer was yes. Yes, I respect you. Yes, I see your greatness. Yes, I understand that winning a fight against you wouldn't make me greater, would just make me the guy who beat a legend past his prime. That's wisdom. That's maturity. That's what separates real champions from everyone else. Real champions don't need to prove they're the best, don't need to diminish others to elevate themselves. They understand that greatness has room for multiple names, multiple stories, multiple legacies. Rocky Balboa could have trash-talked Muhammad Ali, could have sold a fight, could have made millions, but he chose something more valuable. He chose honesty, chose respect, chose to preserve the mystique instead of destroying it for profit. And that choice, made in 12 minutes at a charity dinner in 1977, defined Rocky's character more than any fight ever could. Who in your life are you trying to beat instead of respect? Who are you competing with instead of learning from? Who are you diminishing to elevate yourself? Because Rocky taught us that some battles are won by not fighting. Some victories come from choosing respect over confrontation. Some legacies are built by celebrating others instead of defeating them. Could Rocky beat Muhammad Ali? The answer doesn't matter. What matters is that Rocky understood that. What matters is that he chose conversation over competition. What matters is that two legends sat at a table and talked honestly about fighting, about life, about what it means to be a champion. And that conversation, that mutual respect, that honesty, that's worth more than any fight result ever could be. That's the real victory. That's the real championship. That's what separates legends from everyone else. Not their record, their wisdom, not their wins, their respect, not their ego, their humility. Muhammad Ali and Rocky Balboa understood that, lived that, showed us all what real greatness looks like.